Hi there, welcome back to another video. This time we're going to derive some other Pythagorean identities similar to this one here. The sine squared plus cosine squared is 1. Now hopefully if you've seen my last video, we actually proved this result was true. So for any angle theta, if you take the sine of that theta and square it and add the cosine of that angle squared, you will always get 1. Right, so hopefully you know the reciprocal functions as well. So these are cosec, sec, and cot. So cosec is 1 over sine, sec is 1 over cos, and cot is 1 over tan. Now, an easy way I find to remember these is you look at the third letter in each of the reciprocals. Right, and whatever this letter is, it tells you which reciprocal it is. For example, the third letter in cosec is S, so this tells you it's sine. The third letter in sec is C, so this tells you it's cosine, and the third letter in cot is T, so this tells you it's tan. Right, so how can we use these to prove or derive some other identities? Right, so what we're going to do is actually start with this equation, so let's call it number 1, and this is sort of the fundamental equation. Sine squared plus cosine squared is 1. And what we're actually going to do is divide through by cosine squared theta. Now, again, we're assuming everything's all nice and we're not dividing by 0. So this is going to give us, well, sine squared theta over cosine squared theta plus cosine squared theta over cosine squared theta equals 1 over cosine squared theta. Now, a little point. We know that tan theta equals sine theta over cos theta, right? So therefore we can simplify. Sine squared theta over cos squared theta just becomes tan squared theta. Cosine squared theta over cosine squared theta just becomes 1. And 1 over cosine squared theta just becomes sec squared theta. Great, we've derived another identity, and these are called Pythagorean identities, because they rely on the Pythagoras' equation. Good, so that's our second one. Right, and finally, again, we take our sine squared plus cosine squared equals 1. This time we divide through by sine squared theta. Right, and what's this going to give us? Well, we're going to get sine squared over sine squared plus cosine squared over sine squared equals 1 over sine squared. Right, and again, a little note, if sine over cos is tan, then this must mean that cos over sine is cot, right, because this equals 1 over tan theta. Okay, if you can't see that, well, tan theta is sine over cos, so 1 over sine over cos equals cosine theta over sine theta. Great, so again we can simplify this up. Sine squared theta over sine squared theta is 1. Cosine squared theta over sine squared theta is just going to be cot squared theta. And finally, 1 over sine squared theta is going to be cosec squared theta. Great, so that's our third equation. Okay, fantastic. These are our 3 Pythagorean identities. We have sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta is 1. Tan squared theta plus 1 equals sec squared theta. And 1 plus cot squared theta equals cosec squared theta. Hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did. Stay safe. Thanks.